بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم انفعني بما علمتنا، اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل وعلمنا الحكمة. اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم علينا بالخير. اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم علينا بالخير. اللهم يسر ولا تعسر وتمم علينا بالخير. وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح. وبعد. So we're starting today from the Hijrah to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And of course, we have the new Hijri year just started, but we have to always remember the Hijrah didn't occur in Muharram, right? They'll probably tell us, but it's not in Muharram. So they started the calendar from Muharram from the year that the Hijrah happened in, but it's not that it happened in Muharram because Muharram was already the first month. As far as I know, the Arabs already considered it the first month. Then what year should we start from? That was what Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu instituted. Uh, Also, the Hijrah, most of the Sahaba had already made Hijrah before An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And of course, An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, him leaving would have made it pretty much impossible for everyone else to leave because then the Quraysh would really clamp down if he got out and everyone else was still there. So he left like almost last. But they do say a few people went after him, like Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. He left Mecca after the Hijrah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And probably I'm sure a few others. And some people weren't allowed to leave, right, by their families or tribes. And then they made their way to Medina later. Some people didn't even make it to Medina ever, like until the conquest of Mecca, even though they had wanted to. Um, because we know that until at least until like the next year or two after Hudaybiyah, right? Because after Hudaybiyah, the Meccans said like, fine, anyone who wants to leave Mecca, they can leave. But even then, some people, if the family like stops you physically, then not much you can do. Sorry, let me just get my the pencil. So, Ahmed, you can start.
وأمر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أصحابه بالهجرة إلى المدينة، ومكث إلى آخرهم ينتظر حتى أذن له بالهجرة، فأحكم لها الترتيب والخطة، واتخذ الأسباب الممكنة والحيطة، وخرج هو وصاحبه أبو بكر أبو بكر الصديق أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه
Yeah, you
إلى
can you can you can say I mean like the way it's written here you would say Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, right?
Okay.
Because of the tanween. So Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And there's some rules about sometimes you don't have to do that. Like you can say Muhammadun Nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or you can say Muhammadun Nabi. Yeah, yeah. Like there's times you can take away the tanween. I don't remember the exact details, that's why I don't want to say here, but here there's a tanween, so we should just read it. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq.
Gotcha. أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه.
Oh, well, sorry, you said as-Siddiqi, so why is it majrur?
بس مجرور. وصاحبه أبو بكر. Is it وخرج هو وصاحبه أبو بكر أبو بكر I'm guessing it's not مجرور. I'm guessing it's مرفوع صديقه.
It is marfu, because it's a sifa, right? For
Yeah.
Abu Bakr. So it's sifa, yeah.
Gotcha. رضي الله عنه إلى غار ثور يختبئان
Yeah, يختبئان, yeah.
يختبئان فيه حتى يتوقف بحث العدة، وراحت قريش تف تفتش أرسلت في القبائل بجائزة
بجائزة.
بجائزة مئة.
Yeah, you can do both here. You can say mi'atin or mi'atun. So if you said mi'atun, it's like you're assuming there's like a hidden here. What is the jaiza? A jaiza here, mi'atun min al-ibl. Or you can say mi'atin because it's like a what do you call it? Badal. from
بدل okay
زائدة. Yeah, so you can do it either way actually.
gotcha 100 من الإبل في كل واحد يقتر أو يؤسر منهما
So not يقتل.
أو يقتر
Yeah. So it's
يقتر.
is it مبني للمجهول or مبني للمعلوم?
مجهول
Yeah, مبني للمجهول. Good.
أو يؤسر منهما ووصل طلب غار ثور لكن الله
Yeah.
لكن الله تعالى صرف أبصارهم عنهما وسجل إعجاز ذلك فقال ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا.
Yeah. So لكن is from we have inna وأخواتها. So they say inna and its sisters. They're all things that do the same thing. So Ahmed, what does inna do to a جملة اسمية?
It turns so لكن so لفظ الجلالة or اسم الجلالة would be the اسم in اسم إن
Well, here we call it ism of,
لكن
yeah, ism of ذاكنا.
and it would be منصوب
It's mansub, good. And then what would we say is the khabar of ذاكنا?
لكن it would be الله تعالى it would be صرف أبصارهم عنهما
Yeah,
would
so it's this whole jumla fa'liya. This is a
yeah
jumla fa'liya, and this whole jumla fa'liya is the khabar of ذاكنا.
sure.
So good. And then inside this khabar, we can then say this is a fi'l, and
Yeah.
this is what is the absarahum?
مفعول به
Good, maf'ul bihi. What about anhuma?
عنهما so it wouldn't عن be like a حرف and then
Yeah, so it's harf jar or jar, we could call it.
yeah, jar and then هما would be مجرور but it's مبني
Yeah, it's mabni, so it can't show anything. But jar or majrur, and then the jar majrur, maybe I don't know if you've done this yet, but jar majrur would eventually um, connect back to sarafa.
صرفة okay.
Because anytime you have a harf jar, it usually has to connect to something. So we have to say what is it connecting to?
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, anyway, you can oh, and then yeah, so okay, yeah. And then what's the fa'il? We didn't say the fa'il.
the فعل and so it'd be Allah wait صرف أبصار yeah it would be هو but it would be like a hidden هو but
Yeah,
or
good, good. So it's like a hidden huwa here,
yeah
and that goes back to lafz al-jalala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, so you can try translating, or no, you don't have to translate like everything, but just like summarize the paragraph. But if
okay
words you don't know or anything, then let's go through those.
okay gotcha so the Prophet ﷺ, he commanded the companions of onto Hijrah to Medina al-Munawwara ومكث إلى
You didn't
آخرهم
you didn't translate hijra.
oh Hijrah like immigration
Yeah, migration, immigration, whatever. I don't know what the difference. I know there's a difference between emigration and immigration and migration. Whatever the
yeah
difference, whichever the right one is. Yeah.
yeah ومكث إلى آخرهم and the Prophet ﷺ, he stayed until the last of them ينتظر حتى أذن له بالهجرة ينتظر so he waited until it was like declared for him for hijrah
So adana yuzinu or yuzinu is like declaring, but adina
yeah
ya'zanu means something else. What's idhan?
then it would be like a call or
No, it's like permission.
oh permission oh, okay
Yeah, so udina means until he was permitted, meaning by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go.
oh okay
Because he can't leave until given the command. I just want to comment on one thing here. You can anytime you have a madi here, there's a madi plus a mudara in the same like connected to it. You can translate it in English as like this is actually a hal, right? This is a hal.
oh,
So that means you can translate it as okay, so he stayed in Medina, I'm sorry, he stayed until the last of them, waiting until he was permitted to go. So you can
waiting
make it like a present tense within this past tense structure.
I
That's
got
just a translation note, but yeah.
I got you
So
فأحكم له
technically, the yantadiru, this whole jumla fa'liya is a hal, and the
okay
hal, the hal, which is the hal for the huwa in Makkah, and of course the huwa goes back to an-nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم I got you that's cool okay فأحكم لها الترتيب والخطة so فأحكم like I know is it to give a ruling for it
So hakama is actually ahkama can be used that way, but usually ahkama yuhkimu ihkaman. We use it in aqidah too, right? Like we say
oh
that
like to make a judgment yeah
No, no, I'm talking about also like we say the world is al-alam muhkam.
محكم.
Have
Yeah.
you do you remember anything like that?
Um,
So it's like it's they use itqan and ihkam. Like the world is made like perfectly and like it works properly and things like that. That's what they mean by ahkam.
محكم.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here ahkama means ahkam at-tartib is to like properly set everything up, make
Mm,
proper arrangements and plans, basically.
okay.
Let me see how we translate it anyway, but yeah, he said he organized and planned well for it.
Mm, okay, sure. Wait, what would الخطة mean? I know like
Khitta is a plan, and
a plan.
tartib is also used as like a plan or organization.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, واتخذ الأسباب, so he took the means ممكنة والحيطة for like ممكن, like I know it becomes, it's like for possible or like being able to,
Yeah.
but والحيطة, and I'm not sure what حيطة means.
So this is the same root as the word ihtiyat. I'm sure you know ihtiyat, right?
It means like to encompass, or
Well, actually, you're right. It does have that root, but in fiqh we use ihtiyat, right? What does that mean?
uh, not sure about
It's like a caution.
caution. Okay,
So basically, here he took all possible means, mumkina, possible means, and all precautions. Like
precaution.
he took all cautions, like to keep everything secret from the Meccans.
Gotcha. And he left he yeah, so he left, and his companion Abu Bakr, the truthful one, may Allah be pleased with him, uh to the cave of Thawr, uh يتخابئان فيه, and يتخابئان, I'm guessing for context it means like they stayed, or
It's actually like yeah, they hid in the cave.
oh,
Like
they didn't.
khabi'a means to be hidden, and so
Okay.
ikhtaba'a is like to hide basically. But or conceal themselves. But one thing the kharaja here is the fa'al, right? So then the fa'al is this huwa. We don't need to say there's a huwa inside because there's already a huwa here.
Yep.
But then the kharaja huwa wa sahibuhu Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Okay, yeah, actually never mind. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say there.
Sure. And حتى يتوقفوا
Actually, sorry. This huwa would actually be like ta'kid. There is still a huwa here. Never mind.
oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so it's
this would be like
techie.
ta'kid or something like that.
Okay.
Because they say you can't just like not have it in the basic verb form,
No,
the,
okay.
the pronoun. Just like for example, if you had kharajtu,
Yeah.
like even if you said kharajtu ana, like
So
if
it'd
you
be,
said kharajtu ana wa ashabi, like
mm,
me and my companions left. Oh, ashabi, yeah. So the kharajtu, this the two is the fa'il, and there's nothing
mm,
else you can do about it. This ana is more just like ta'kid.
techie. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and then حتى يتوقفوا بحث عيده. So until he stayed, or بحث,
What
uh,
what does bahth mean?
like search.
Yeah, search. And then ida is one of the plurals of adu.
Oh, no, oh, okay. So it's like his enemy searching for him.
Yeah, so basically they were waiting out. Yeah, they're waiting out the search for their enemy, waiting for the search to finish so they can leave again.
Gotcha. So this would be an example of Jama Taksir.
This is Jama Taksir, yeah. Actually, Udu only has Jama Taksir, like A'da, Ida. I don't think it doesn't even have a Jama Mudakkar Salim.
Okay. Not like
You
Adu.
can't say Udu, you can't say Aduwwun or something.
I gotcha. أوكي. وراحت قريش تفتش وأرسلت في القبائل بجائزة. So the Quraysh left. I'm not sure what تفتش
So
mean.
yeah, so it's from taftish. Taftish is like to investigate and research. So here it's basically mean like they went all out looking for them.
Okay. And then they sent in their direction, in the direction
Uh,
بجاء
well, there's no what's al-qaba'il?
قبائل.
Plural of qabila.
I'm not sure.
So the tribes.
The tribes. Oh, okay.
Basically, they sent here you translate it as like you can't really say in. They sent out to the tribes about or they like I don't know how you well you can send they sent out to the tribes like some news about a prize or a reward, jaiza.
جائزة. Okay.
Yeah. So we use jaiza a lot for like a prize or a reward.
Okay.
They even in like for kids and stuff, they say like, oh, they have a competition, they'll give them a jaiza. That'll be like the prize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then so there was like 100 camels from each one to kill ويؤسروا I'm not sure about Yusaro.
So yeah, there's a prize of 100 camels for each
Oh,
one. So you can connect this minhuma to two. So each of the two, for each of those two, meaning Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sayyidina Abu Bakr
okay.
radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So for each of the two, if either one was killed or captured, sort of captured,
Okay.
then there'll be 100 camels. So if you get both of them, then there'll be 200 camels.
I gotcha.
And of course, 100 camels then is like like a $2-3 million prize now, pretty much.
Uh, and وصل طلبوا غير الثور and the chase arrived at Thor or like the like I'm guessing like the chase arrived at the cave of Thor.
Yeah, so you could say the chase or like the people, yeah, there's people searching for them reached up to or the posse or something like that. They reached up to, if you want to use like Wild West terms, reached up
Yeah,
to the cave of Thor. Yeah,
gotcha. And however, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he what is it called? He switched their not switch. It's like averted
yeah,
their vision or their gaze or their sight of from them.
good.
وسجد إعجاز ذلك فقال سجل I don't know about سجل.
So sajda, you sajdu from tasjil. Um, it means to record.
Record. Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
that's why we say, like, for like something recording, they say tasjil or like musajjal.
التشتيت. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, tasjilat. Or they say like darsun musajjal, like a recorded dars or something like that.
I
Here,
gotcha.
though, it's saying sajjala, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recorded this, like, in the Quran.
Gotcha. ثانية اثنين إذ هما في الغار
Well, actually, the i'jaz, what is the i'jaz?
إعجاز. I'm guessing like what is it called? Does it come from like I just like incapacity or
It is. So then what, well, there's another word. We have a'jaza, yu'ajizu. So something is mu'ajizun wa mu'ajizatun. So what is a mu'ajiza?
oh okay, it's a miracle. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess you would translate this as he recorded
Miracle. Okay.
the miraculous nature or something like that of this incident.
Gotcha. فقال so that then he said ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار إذ يقول لصاحبه, so the second or the second of the two إذ هما and in the cave when he said to his companion, don't grieve, truly Allah is with us.
Yeah. So ثاني اثنين is so يقول the huwa and يقول going back to ثاني اثنين. Sorry,
So
I shouldn't write in the ayah like that, but I'm just going back to ثاني اثنين. This part is like it's kind of like kalam and mu'tarad. It's coming in between. Like idhum afghar. While they were in the cave, this is when this happened. So
uh,
if you move this to the front of the sentence, then there wouldn't be any interruption, for example. But of course, there's reasons for this. So ثاني
okay.
اثنين idhum afghar إذ يقول. So
Yep.
إذ here is like when.
One.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, إذ يقول لصاحبه لا تحزن إن الله معنا. So he didn't mention all the stuff about the spider and birds' eggs and things like that, right? That
Yep.
you often hear in the Sirah. This is very summarized. So let's keep going then. So I'll do the next paragraph and then you can we'll take turns, I guess.
I got you. Sounds good.
Okay, so he says قال رحمه الله وفي الطريق إلى المدينة لحقهم سراقة بن مالك. So Malikin, remember, is fully flexible. It's munsarif. So what form is that Malik? What kind of ism is that we covered?
اسم فاعل.
Yeah, ism fa'il. Yeah, Malik. واقترب واقترب منهم فابتهل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى الله فغاصت قوائم فرس سراقة في الأرض. So Suraqa is غير munsarif. It's partly flexible. Why do you think that is, Ahmed?
Sorry, wait, صرخة.
Yeah, so Suraqa is it's only it's mamnu' min as-sarf. It's partly flexible only, not fully flexible. How come?
Isn't it because like it's like a man's name but has a ta marbuta at the end? It's like a feminine sounding name.
Yeah,
Or
so name plus the sign of femininity. Those two things together make it that way. Yeah.
gotcha.
So it doesn't matter if it's a man's name or a woman's name, actually. It
Okay.
matters about the sign of femininity. Because there are women's names. There
There.
are a few women's names that would be fully flexible, but I guess they're kind of rare. Most of them aren't.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Um, I was trying to think of one just now, but it's kind of hard to think of one.
Aisha or right?
No, that's also Aisha too because it has the ta'nith. So
Oh,
I mean, it has Dhamma Bhuta, and it's a name. So
gotcha.
I can't think of one right now, actually. Actually, Hind. Hind is a good example.
Oh,
So that's a woman's name, like the Arabs used. Hindun, Hindin, Hindan, you can say, even though
okay.
it's a woman's name.
I got you.
Yeah. So واقترب منهم فتح النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى الله فغاصت قوائم فرس سراقة في الأرض ومنعه الله عنهم فطلب الأمان يعني طلب سراقة let's go back to سراقة فطلب الأمان وعاهدهما أن يؤمنهما so عاهدهما this is النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم and Abu Bakr أن يؤمنهما فدعا له النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وبشره أن سيلبس سوار كسرى ملك الدنيا ملك الدنيا not Malak, right? I said Malak, but Malak is an angel. Malik is a king. فرجع سراقة يرد من يلقاه ويقول قد كفيتم ما ها هنا. Okay, so on the way to Medina, في الطريق إلى المدينة لحقهم Suraka. So Suraka caught up to them, basically. Al-Lihaq is like to catch up. They use it in like races, like, Lahikahum is catching up to him. So Suraka ibn Malik, who was from the Meccans and he was not a Muslim at this time, so he caught up to them and he got close to them. And then An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he began to, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against Suraka because, he's about to be caught. So then, and of course, the dua of An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam of any prophet is accepted. Then, uh, so the legs of the horse of Suraka started becoming like I guess the ground became kind of like quicksand, so his like legs got stuck in the ground, so he couldn't move. Um, and actually, this happened like three times, right, in the story, but he doesn't mention all that here. So anyway, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala prevented him. So this has going back to Suraka, and then Anhum is going to Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina An Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I'm not sure why I said Anhum here and then Huma over here. But there was I don't know if anyone remembers, but there's actually three people here. It's not just Sayyidina Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. There's also a guide with them, like someone who's leading them through the desert. And that guy wasn't Muslim, I think, also at that time. But so that's why you could say Anhum, it would be fine. But then he switches to Anhuma, maybe because Suraka only made the promise to those two, not to the guide. I don't know. Were you gonna say something, Ahmed?
No, no, no. I'm just.
Okay. So yeah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevented him from them. فطلب الأمان. So Suraka, he sought like safe passage. He just wanted to come talk to them. He's like, forget it. Like I'm not gonna try to catch them. وعاهدهما, and he made like an oath to them, or like a covenant with them, أن يؤمنهما, that he would grant them safety. Like he's not going to try and capture them. And Suraka was known as like a very fearsome warrior. But of course, if he tried to capture them, then we know that he wouldn't be able to capture the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm not saying Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam would fight because he didn't have permission to fight at that time, but still he wouldn't be able to capture them. So anyway, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made dua for him. He made dua for Suraka, meaning because he had made this oath, this pledge, not to hurt them, not to like oppose them. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he prayed for him. Abu Basharahu, says min tabshir. He gave him glad tidings. The Bashir, Basharahu, because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is al Bashir and Nadir, right? He gave him glad tidings that eventually Sayalbisu. So Ahmed, what is the scene for again?
مستقبل.
Yeah, it's for the mustaqbal. So that he will in the future wear siwara kisra. Siwara is like the bangle, I think the bangles or bracelets, I think. Yeah. So that he's gonna wear the siwara kisra. Kisra, of course, is not an Arabic word, it's just the title for the Persian emperor. Um, I don't know in English what they usually call the Persian.
Oh, is it like Caesar? Is like comes from Caesar or no?
No, no, Caesar is Caesar.
Yes.
That's for the Romans and Byzantines. This is
Oh,
for in English. In English, they say like Khosrows or Khosrows or something. There's another word like a Khosrow.
it's like Cicero or something like that, or I think.
Cicero. Yeah, that sounds, isn't that Latin or something?
Uh,
So yeah, I don't actually. Oh yeah, yeah. Khosrow is like, yeah, what Nas is writing there. I've seen that word before, but I guess it's just not that common. But it would be interesting to see because it does sound like Caesar and like all those other words too. Even Khosrow. I just wrote Khosrow, but now I'm not sure. Is Khosrow from Caesar or is it from this one? Khosrows. It sounds like it, but that famous name Khosrow. We have like Mullah Khosrow and all these people.
mm.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly look it up because I'm interested. Okay, yeah. So in English, they're like Khosrow is Persian. Yeah, yeah, it is Persian. So I was just wondering, is it the Persian equivalent of this one, of this name, or is it like Persian equivalent of Caesar? Probably not. It's probably too different. It's probably this one. I'm sure you're right. Khusro, yeah. Apparently, it used to be Husrav or something like that in older Iranian languages. Then in Middle Persian, it became Khusro or something like that. Yeah, that they still have it in Turkish as like Husro. They write it Husrev.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're right. You're right. Naz, this was that one. But it's interesting that the Ottoman Empire took the title like Caesari Rum, right? The Caesar of Rome, because he took over the Byzantine Empire. Even though he never took over Rome, but he took over the Byzantines, which was the Roman Empire at the time. Okay, there's actually a lot of detail on it here, but it's interesting. Yeah, so Khosrow is like the New Persian version, but I think New Persian was already around. Modern Persian was already around by the time of Islam or very soon after. So Middle Persian is the one before that. Oh yeah, Naz, it says here there's a Bengali variant of the word called Khosru. Do people have that name?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of weird for like that a lot of Muslims use this as a name. I mean, it's fine. That's not like a problem. It's just like I wonder what's so great about it that they're using this name. Like my uncle is Khusro. I don't really know why. There's other Persian names that people use that they shouldn't be using, like the Shahanshah, Shahanshah, the King of Kings. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam actually forbade this explicitly in a hadith, and he said the word in Persian, Shahanshah, but you still find Muslims with that name. Like that's like an old auntie name, kind of like I knew. It's like one of my friends, his grandmother that was her name, but it's like forbidden actually to use any kind of king of kings name for a human. So basharahu an sayalbisu siwara kisra. Anyone know what kind of an this is? Basharahu an sayalbisu. One of the more common ones. Comes before a verb.
It's supposed to be the like the nasib, but I don't think it is. I think it's just Zaida.
You're right, it's supposed to be nasib, but there are times where even the nasib one, which is like the mastariya and mastariya, can become it doesn't make the next thing nasib. And one of those times,
Oh, right, right. Oh,
because of the scene is coming in between, then it's allowed to not make it mansub. That's what I remember.
because there's a fossil, right?
Yeah, there's a fasil. Yeah, they say kalam and ajnabi or something like that, they call it. Um, Ahmed, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry.
I was just
So
like humming in approval.
no, it's fine. I mean, you can leave your mic on anyway. It doesn't matter. But anyway, it says Basharahu and Sayal Bisu Siwara Kisra. So he's gonna be wearing the banglets or bracelet of Kisra. Malik Dunya. Malik Dunna. What's Malik Duna? Is that a typo? Oh, Naz, do you have your copy or no?
I'm driving, so I won't be
Okay.
able to look at it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Later, maybe you can look and see. This looks like a typo. I'm assuming Malik Dunya probably. Yeah, it's definitely a typo. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what Duna would mean. Okay, so Malik Dunya. So let's just if anyone has this edition, which I do, I'm gonna correct mine right now. So I'm assuming it's Malik Dunya, but later Naz can look in that edition, the newer edition, and see if they corrected it because they did make some corrections. Okay, Malik Dunya. By the way, for the ulama always say that like if you're going to correct your copy, they usually just make like they don't cross it out like this or anything. They usually just like make a little line like this, and then in the margins they'll write la'allahu la'allahu ad-dunya. Because they're still entertaining the possibility that they're wrong and maybe this word is something else that they don't know or something like that. So that's the way to correct these things. But if you can correct it and if you cross it out with something really light ink or something and write something else where the original word is still visible, I mean it's no problem. I'm just saying that this is like the uh the habit of the ulama. فَرَجَعَ سُرَاقَةُ. So it's interesting that he's calling him the king of the world. Like, was that maybe a translation of title that he had? Because it's famous that the Sassanids at that time, the Sassanids were warring with the Eastern Roman Empire, which we call Byzantines. Which I know it's not an accurate term though, but we call them the Byzantines. But they were like, they were going back and forth all the time. So it's interesting that we call them Malik ad-Dunya. Anyway, فرجع سراقة يرد من يلقاه ويقول قد كفيتم ما ها هنا. So Suraka went back, and then whoever he met, other people in the search party who are looking for Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Basically, these are bounty hunters, right? Exactly what we would call a bounty hunter. They know there's a big prize afoot for Nabi alayhi salatu wasallam and for Abu Bakr radi anhu. So they're all going for the bounty. So he meets other bounty hunters and he tells them like, oh, he says, يقول قد كفيتم ما ها هنا, that like you don't have to look here basically. Like you've been قد كفيتم, like you've been saved from having to do that. Just save yourself the trouble. You don't have to look over here. So he didn't lie to them actually, right? He's just like, oh, save yourself the trouble. This place is already done. I went here already. He didn't actually say, oh, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not here. Anyway, he wasn't Muslim at the time, regardless, so it wouldn't matter. So, well, it'll still matter, of course, because the Arabs, we know how they felt about lying. They were very serious about it. Ahmed, you can continue from here.
وقدم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم المدينة فاستقبله الأنصار بأهازيج الأفراح وأنشاد السرور وأضاءت
وأناشيد, right?
أناشيد السرور.
What is anashid?
Plural of nasheeds.
Yeah, plural of nasheed, good. Well, not nasheeds, right?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
nasheed.
yeah, plural of nasheed, good.
السرور وأضاءت أنواره أرجاؤها خلد تاريخ النشيد خلد تاريخ نشيد استقبالها طلع البدر.
So what would be the Arab of nasheed here?
نشيدة.
Yeah, nasheed, because you already see there's a file, so you could be pretty for even if you didn't know what it meant, you could be pretty sure the next thing is maf'ul. Yeah.
طلع البدر علينا من ثنية الوداع واجب الشكر علينا ما دعا لله داع أيها المبعوث فينا جئت بالأمر المطاع.
Yeah, so here I mean, this is not a mistake, it's just a mistake in typing, right? It should have been like connected, the ha and the alif, but that's pretty minor. But still, I mean, I like to correct these things anyway. Why not? If you have like a physical copy, because there's no reason to write it like that here. Sometimes in poetry you do write things in non-standard ways, but this is not one of them. So, go ahead and try and translate this.
So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, qadima would mean like he came to the Medina, or like he
Yeah, so I think the closest thing would be like arrived.
arrived. Okay.
Yeah, like let's say kudum. Kudum is to arrival, so this is the verb form. Qadima yaqdumu kuduman.
Gotcha. What is it called? Yeah. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he arrived in Medina and he faced the Ansar بأهاجزي الأفراح. أهازيجي not أهاجزي.
Yeah.
What's the meaning of أهاجزي?
So this is the plural of zuja. Zuja, and it's basically a type of like a song basically.
Okay.
There's also one of the poetic meters is called like hazaj, but I think we have like what do we call like anyone know what we call those poems that we have like Jawharat al-Nayyira and all the not Jawharat al-Tawheed and these poems, like there's a name for that.
Manduma?
Huh? Manzuma is one name. There's another name that has this root in it, Rajaz.
Oh.
So whoops. Yeah. So it's Urjuza.
Oh.
So Rajaz is one of the 16 like meters of Arabic poetry, right? So Urjuza is that what we call a poem that's made in Rajaz. So same thing, we have Hazaj. So we call a poem in that meter Zuja. Now, I'm not completely sure about whether they only use it for those of you can also use it for other things which are in different meters. So I don't know if this is the meter for this one. I'm just saying that okay, there's a Hazaj meter, and the thing that written in Hazaj is called Zuja. Just like in Rajaz we say Urjuza. That's why in Jawharat al-Tawheed it says وَهَذِهِ أَرْجُوزَةٌ لَقَّبْتُهَا جَوْهَرَةَ التَّوْحِيدِ قَدْ هَذَّبْتُهَا. So he says that in the poem that this is an Urjuza that I've made basically, and I named it Jawharat al-Tawheed. Okay, yeah, so go ahead. So here I'll just translate it as like poems or songs, basically.
And afrah, I'm guessing like means like happy or like just like joyfulness or
yeah, so poems of joy or songs of joy, something like that.
And anashidi surur and like I guess hymns of delight.
Yeah, I guess nasheed like in that time would have meant primarily a poem, and it could be sung also. Yeah, so I guess either poems of delight maybe.
Gotcha, poem of delight. وأضاءت بأنواره أرجاؤها. So what is it called with his light? I'm guessing أضاءت. Where's أضاءت going back to? Like Medina? Is it going
Yeah, this was for Al Madina. So Arja means what?
like hope? Like or
No,
multiple.
no. So here it means something else. It's in the Quran too, right? Arja'iha. What's the ayah? It means like the different corners or different like places there. Arja'iha. I'm just gonna look for the ayah quickly. وَالْمَلَكُ عَلَى أَرْجَائِهَا وَيَحْمِلُ عَرْشَ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. So yeah, so the angels are at its edges, like the edges of the hellfire, right? Not the hellfire, the throne, the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's in Surah Al-Haqqa. وانشقت السماء فيها يومئذ واهية والملك على أرجائها ويحمل عرش ربك فوقهم يومئذ ثمانية. Actually, is it for the arsh? Is it for... Okay, actually, no, of the heavens. They're at the corners of the heavens, the angels. So here we could say like every corner, you can say like every corner of Medina was illuminated by his light. Meaning the light of, this is going back to An-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anwarihi. And actually they say this is not just a what do you call it? It's not just a metaphorical thing. This is a physical light as well. Because we have narrations where, like Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha was sitting in her room and she's looking for her needle because she dropped her needle. And then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes in. It's still like Fajr time, so it's like dark. And then she said, "Oh, the light from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was enough that I can find that needle on the floor." And we have other narrations when he passed away, alayhi salatu wasalam, about when people said that Medina physically became darker, and they were describing it that way, like the Sahaba were describing it that way. So it's like this is something real also, this light. That's why we call it, and that's the main reason we're calling it Al-Madinah al-Munawwara. It's Munawwara bi Nur nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And of course today it's not Munawwar like it was in the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam. It's still Munawwar, the city, but it's not, to that level. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's wow, that's crazy. وخلد so it's going back to ضاءت بأنواره. So it's like the Medina was lit up with his with his nur.
Yeah, like or every corner of Medina.
Every corner of Medina. Okay, gotcha. And وخلد تاريخ نشيدة. So it's saying that like history made I guess like I don't know like well known or like it like I'm guessing it has to do with like longevity like the
Yeah,
Nasheed Quran
yes,
Badr.
you're right. So I'm trying to think of a good word for that.
It's like
History, you could say immortalized, right? Like, oh, it was immortalized in a poem or something like that. History immortalized the poem of his reception or that he was received with. Alayhi salatu wassalam.
so استقبالها and what does he mean by استقبالها?
Istiqbal is to receive someone. Like you would say istiqbal al-day if you're receiving a guest.
Oh, gotcha.
So here it's saying istiqbal al-Medina, right? So the Medina, it's like a metaphor, right? Medina is receiving him, which really means the people of Medina are receiving him, alayhi salatu wassalam, as their guest.
Nice one. Gotcha. And so طلع البدر علينا. So the full moon has reached upon us. من ثنية الوداع. I know min from something the valley, but ثنية.
No, so it does mean valleys actually.
Oh,
Thaniyat. So a thaniya is a valley actually.
oh,
And then al-Wada is actually the name of the specific place of valleys.
oh, gotcha.
I think you're confusing it with the al-Wadi.
Oh, yeah,
Wadi is also a valley, but that's not the word being used here
gotcha.
because there's no ayin in there.
You gotcha. واجب الشكر علينا. So
Wajaba, right?
وجب
Wajaba.
الشكر
Yeah.
علينا. So no, thanks is mandatory upon us. ما دعا لله داع. So this is ما النفي
No.
or
This is
ما what? I guess
I think it's wajaba shukru alayna. So it could either be a hidden li here. You could say lima. So that's why we have to give shukr because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has called, or you can say it's ma for dawam. Like as long as some caller is calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to be thankful. You
Gotcha.
know, like the famous sentence they use in Nahu books is like, what is it? قام الوزير ما قام الأمير. So the wazir, the advisor, he stood up as long as the ruler stood. And then once that guy sits down, then I can sit down, right? The ruler sits down, then you can sit. So this ma means like as long as. I actually don't know which one they usually translate this as. Anyone know? ما دعا الله داع وجب الشكر علينا. Well, I can see what he translated as here. Here it says, and it behooves us to be thankful for what the caller has called us to Allah. That's not very good English, right? For what the caller has called us to Allah. I'm not sure, but he says for what? So he's saying what I said, the lima. So I don't know. We can look up like some sharh of this or something, but I don't know actually.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can continue.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. And like you hadn't مبعوث فينا. So is it saying like المبعوث like I'm not exactly sure like what does it mean? I know like baritha means like to raise or like to resurrect, right?
So Ba'atha, yeah, you're right. So but the Ba'atha is like the sending of a prophet.
Mm.
So Ba'atha would be to send someone in this
That's
context. So
gotcha.
what is Mab'uth then?
The 1 cent.
Yeah, the one who sent. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the I don't know how to say this, but one who sent to us Jitza bin Amr al and came with commands to be obeyed or like
Yeah, it came with the command to be obeyed. But the Fina, like it would be like more like among us.
among us. Okay.
Like we have the hadith we have the in the Quran, right? Well
Mm.
then what is it? وكيف تكفرون وأنتم تتلى عليكم آيات الله وفيكم رسوله. وفيكم, like among you is his messenger. And there's
Mm.
other ayahs like that in the Quran, like what's that famous thing about Ahl al-Fatra being saved? The we do not punish people unless we send to them حتى نبعث.
و- وما كنا معذبين حتى نبعث
Yeah.
رسولا.
So what's the can you recite that then?
وما كنا معذبين حتى نبعث رسولا.
Okay, no, sorry, that doesn't have the fee. Never mind. But yeah, okay, Jazakallah khairah. For some reason, I really thought there was somewhere in there like Fina and Fikum for the Rasul alayhi salam specifically, but I can't think of it right now. Okay, so by the way, so these three verses, like this is what's famous in the books of Sirah, right? That they were recited when the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam made it to Al-Madinah. Um, but what's actually the tahqiq is actually that this happened at a different time. Anyone know when that is? So they actually say it's
Is it
actually. Yeah, go ahead.
is it after returning from Tabuk?
Yeah,
If
they
I
say it's actually
remember.
returning from Tabuk. Like they said, that's when they sang this song that they sang the song for Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he and his army came back from Tabuk, where he fought the Romans, the Eastern Romans. Um, so that's what is actually that's what the tahqiq is, and you might have seen that before because people point that out sometimes. But actually, it's in the edition that Naz has that Sheikh Nuruddin Atta rahimahullah said that لكني جريت هنا على المشهور. That he said like, oh, I stuck to what was famous here, so I just stuck to the famous narration in the books of Sirah, even though we have other narrations, stronger narrations telling us that this poem is actually from Tabuk, and I think a lot of times it bothers people to learn that. Like, like it kind of ruins the Hijra story for them. So, there's you don't have to be you don't have to always give people the tahqiq, it's fine if you're doing like a public address. But yeah, like a Sirah dar is fine. Then you can tell people that. But like the more tahqiq you do, the more things get ruined, honestly. Like guys know that famous poem at Shafi'i? شكوت إلى وقيعي سوء حفظي فأرشدني أن ترك إذا ترك المعاصي فإن العلم نور ونور الله لا يؤتى العاصي. Like Imam Shafi complained to Waqi' ibn al-Jarrah, and he said that, oh, I have bad memory. So al-Waqi' said to him, that stop sinning because the no, ilm is the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you can't have the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be like a sinner, basically, something like that, right? So like it's like it's a really famous poem. But then the tahqiq is that like, oh, it seems like we don't actually have any source properly saying that Ash-Shafi actually said this, and that was one time where I was like, oh, this just ruined everything. But anyway, that's if you want to be a talib al-ilm, then I guess that's what you have to do. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. I like that. There's another famous quote like that, when there's that lawyer who tried to sue the government about the JFK killing. He said, oh, he was actually quoting some like Greek historian, like, let the truth let the truth prevail, though the heavens fall. Even if everything's going to be destroyed, we have to say the truth. So that's fine. Did he say it? Good question. Usually, if the quote sounds too good to be true, the guy didn't actually say it. There's another quote I like a lot. It's like some French historian in the 19th century, I think. Um, as much as I hate to quote anyone French, but he said that it's terrifying how much research it requires to verify even the tiniest historical fact. And it's so true. Like it requires so much research, and by that time somebody else has already made up 20 other fake historical facts. Um, Yeah, but anyway, that's the tahqiq. But again, I mean, I don't know if you look in like detailed books of Sirah, especially the one modern books where they do a lot of tahqiq, you could probably find much more about this. What time is it? 7:22. Next section's like a page and a half or so. Naz, do you want to read it? We could start it and maybe like stop in the middle or something.
Uh, I could try, but I'm driving.
Oh, okay, no, sorry. I thought you already saw the new book. I thought you were already looking in the
No,
book.
no, I have my book in my bag, so I
Oh,
just
you
I
looked while
just looked
driving?
at it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I couldn't resist.
Okay, never mind. Not you. Don't read. Okay, so let's just start this and then I want to stop within like 7 minutes by 7:30. So why don't you start the first paragraph, Ahmed? I'll do the next one.
بناء المجتمع. كانت الهجرة فرقانا بين الحق والباطل والضعف والقوة. مكنت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن ينشر دين الله ويقيم بناء مجتمعي على الهداية الله.
So you should say يقيم. Why يقيم?
Because it's مجهول مبني.
No, it's not much wood actually. This is yeah, we didn't do this verb form yet in the class, but أقام يقيم, that's the normal mudara. This is actually مبني لل what do you call
معلوم.
it? معلوم. But no, the question I was asking is why is this fatha here? يقيم.
So I'm guessing it's mansub.
It's mansub because the
It goes back.
wow is connecting it back to this. So
Um,
the un applies to both of them. Yeah. Okay, so you can translate then. But
okay.
translate the title also.
Okay. Bina. Um, Bina. I'm guessing like it means like it's coming from building or
Yeah.
like and mujtama and like I guess building the congregation.
Yeah,
Or
so or more like here it's used in a wider sense, like society, community, that kind of thing.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So كانت so the hijrah was forgotten. The hijrah was a separator or differentiator between the truth and falsehood, and the weak and the strong. Uh, and
Or
مكنت
well, daf and quwwa are like the masdar, so weakness and strength.
weakness and strength.
Yeah.
Um, مكنت النبي. So the Prophet ﷺ, stayed.
So makkanat, first of all, we know that it's not saying anything about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because it's
It's
feminine.
mansub, yeah.
No, it's not mansub, right?
Oh,
It's not. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. An-Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is mansub, but I mean the makkanat is a feminine noun, right? I mean a feminine verb. So who is it talking about? What's the file? The first thing I forgot is the file.
this hijrah.
Yes, but what's the actual file?
Oh, here.
Yeah, here. And then of course it's going back to hijrah. You're right. I mean I just wanted to make sure you're being precise.
Gotcha. So
So then what is the i'rab of an-Nabi?
النبي منصوب مفعول به.
Yeah, مفعول به. Good. But anyway, do you know what مكنت means?
مكنت I know مكان but I don't know مكنت.
Okay, that's fine. So مكن يمكن تمكينا means to make
Oh,
somebody able to do something.
okay.
Yeah. So you could say to enable someone.
Okay. Oh, so the Hijra enabled the Prophet ﷺ to spread the religion of Allah,
Yeah.
like, and to establish بناء المجتمع, the building of society upon the guidance of Allah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So I guess I'll read from this one and then maybe we'll do one more. I think we have a few minutes. أقام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مجتمع المسلمين على ركن التآخي في الدين. آخى بين الأنصار والمهاجرين وكان إيقاء فريدا. آثر فيه الأنصار على أنفسهم المهاجرين إخوانهم وتلقوا what does it have I don't know what has a dhamma there. It should be وتلقوا. Let me just fix my copy. وتلقوا. That's وتلقوا. That's not right. How would you actually read this? So if the al is coming here, then you have to say وتلقوا, not تلقوا. So yeah, either way, this dhamma doesn't seem to be correct. Okay, وتلقوا المكاره عنهم ودافعوا عنهم بأموالهم وأنفسهم كما وصفهم الله عز وجل فقال في المهاجرين أولئك هم الصادقون وفي الأنصار ويؤثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة ومن يوق شح نفسه فأولئك هم المفلحون فاصدق يا أخي مع الله لتكون مع الصادقين وأنفق في الإسلام وأهله لتكون مع المفلحين. So he says, النبي صلى الله عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم established the community of believers, of Muslims, upon the cornerstone, the rukn, the cornerstone of ta'akhi fi din, brotherhood, like a mutual brotherhood in the deen, in the religion. So ta'akhi, it's related to the word akh, right, brother. But then we have this, we have the verb from af'ala, af'ala yuf'ilu. So from that we're getting akha, akha yu'akhi, yu'akhi. So that's the verb form being used. And then ta'akhi is the masdar. So on the cornerstone of brotherhood, meaning building brotherhood, because this verb form implies action from two sides. So it's like building brotherhood between Muslims in the deen. Akha, he joined in brotherhood the Ansar and the Muhajirin. We know that he assigned each Muhajir an Ansari brother, etc. That whole story. I'm sure we're all aware of it. So he's just describing that here. وَكَانَ إِخَاءً فَرِيدًا. It was a unique instance of making people into brothers, basically. It was a unique instance because like something that people hadn't really done before. Why was it unique? آثر فيه الأنصار على أنفسهم المهاجرين إخوانهم. So it was unique because the Ansar آثر. So أثر, this is أثر, but then we're getting this other verb form, which is, so we have أثر, then you have آثر, يؤثر. And, this is a very common verb form, يؤثر. So آثر يؤثر, to prefer something over someone else, to prefer someone over someone else, or to prefer something over something else. So تآثر. So what they're saying is the Ansar preferred the Muhajirin over themselves. Oh, sorry, they preferred the Muhajirin, their brothers, over themselves. So, if, Ahmed, what's the Arab of Muhajirin here? Since we're doing this in class these days.
Gotcha. Because it's major.
Okay, so why is it majrur?
Because what is it called? So wait, no, it's actually wait. في الدين آخي. Wait, actually, 1 second.
That's right. Take your time.
Oh, it's correct.
Huh?
Wait, it's correct.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not know.
في الدين آخي بين الأنصار. Oh wait, never mind. Oh wait.
I was talking about this one.
Oh, that one. Oh, sorry. أنفسهم المهاجرين. Yeah, it's a major.
Okay, well, why?
Because I'm guessing it's like بدل on أنفسهم and like jar major from على.
Okay, but then the meaning would be the Ansar preferred upon the Muhajirin
Oh wait, no.
brothers. That
Okay,
wouldn't make sense.
It'd be like مفعول به.
Yeah, so it's maf'ul bihi. So then what's the state?
منصوب.
Yeah, it's mansub. So the ala anfusihim, this part is connected to it's connected to the atara, to the verb over there.
Yeah.
So they preferred the Ansar preferred, and what did they prefer? They preferred the Muhajirin, their brothers. This part is a badal, the ikhwanahum.
Okay,
For
gotcha.
the Muhajirin, their brothers, over themselves. So this is the maf'ul, this ikhwana, al-Muhajirin, akhwanahum, then ala anfusihim is just jar wa majrur muta'alliq bi athara. It's connected to athara. So yeah, they prefer over themselves the Muhajirin, their brothers. Or you can translate it, their brothers, the Muhajirin. Sounds more natural in English. وَتَلَقَّوْا الْمَكَارِهَ عَنْهُمْ. And they basically, تَلَقَّوا is like they met difficulties on their behalf. So they basically took on difficulties on behalf of their brothers, the Muhajirin. You know how, the Ansari offered, who's that really rich Sahabi? What's his name again? Abdurrahman ibn Auf, right? His Ansari brother offered him to divorce one of his wives and give her to him in marriage and to close one of his shops and give it to him, etc. So they're ready to do all these things on the behalf of the Muhajirun. وَدَافَعُوا عَنْهُمْ بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ. And they defended them and protected them by means of their wealth, meaning the Ansar defended the Muhajirun. This Anhum is this point to here, and this is going back to Ansar. So they defended them by means of their wealth and their own lives. They were ready to give their lives for the Muhajirun. كما وصفهم الله عز وجل, just as Allah described them. The hum is going back to the Ansar. Azza wa Jal. And he said about the Muhajirin, أولئك هم الصادقون. They are the ones who are truthful and sincere. Of course, they're sincere if they made hijrah for the sake of Islam. And then he said about the Ansar, he said about the Ansar. So fi here means about, right? Even so, that's why we always say fi means in, but it's not. Of course, it's not exactly accurate because a harf has no meaning until it's connected in a sentence. So وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خُصَاصَةٌ. So they preferred others. So like there's like a something omitted here. They preferred others to themselves, even if they themselves were in like dire straits. They were already in like not good condition financially, poverty. Because the Ansar, they were not like rich people. The Meccans had much more money than them generally. The Medina was considered like kind of like it was a city for like in their sense. It was like they considered it a city, but barely. Like compared to Mecca, it was nothing in terms of size and power and influence and trade. It was nothing compared to Mecca. So they were generally had nothing. But then the Muhajirun left everything behind in Mecca, a lot of them. So they had nothing as well. But they're coming from a people who are used to having more. وَمَن يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And whoever avoids miserliness of his own soul, or like the fact that you never want to give people stuff, then they're going to be from among the successful. They are the successful ones. First, now Sheikh Dr. Nuruddin Etter is giving us some advice. So فَاسْتُقْ يَا أَخِي مَعَ اللَّهِ. So be truthful and sincere with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my brother, so that you will also be from as-sadiqeen, those who are truthful and sincere. وَأَنْفِقْ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ. And spend for Islam and for its people, for the people of Islam, so that you will be with the muflihin, you will be with the successful ones, meaning in the day of judgment. And that's very important advice for us today, of course, as well. Okay, so actually we can go like another 10 minutes, I guess. We just finished this section. So why don't you read Ahmed now?
عقد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
Yeah, عقد, right? Not عقد. Yeah.
عقد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اليهود على عاهدهم على مودة للمسلمين وحسن جوارهم، وظهرت منه عليه الصلاة والسلام في كتب المعاهدات بادرة أولى في التاريخ، هي تحديد معنى الأمة على أساس الدين والنظام الملة. Keep going, or
You can translate this one.
okay. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made a contract with the Yahud, with the Jews, and promised them.
Well, Ahadahum made a covenant with them.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So similar to Aqada, but Ahad usually means like a covenant or like a pact.
And okay, and then على مودة للمسلمين وحسن جوارهم, and on the مودة, is it coming from مودة?
Yeah, so but it's coming from the root like wadda yuwaddi, so it's like to mutual like love and respect and like assistance and things like that. Like that's like they're basically being good neighbors to each other. That's really what they're saying here, right? Because of the next thing he says, but it's like they should be allied with the Muslims and be have good like relations in terms of like neighbors.
Sure. And then وظهرت منه عليه الصلاة والسلام في كتب. So and then so ظهرت منه عليه الصلاة والسلام. And then ظهرت made manifest, but is it going back to مواد?
Uh, no, so Dhaharat here would be
Yeah, but
I guess you
who?
could say that. I mean, it's just it's about the oh wait. No. Actually, no. Sorry. The fire is still coming here.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, and Badira. I'm not sure what Badira means.
Adira is like it's like the first to try to do something. What's the word? Like a taking the initiative. Like yeah, like an initiative or something.
Gotcha. And okay, gotcha. So the initiative made manifest from him, I saw to some of in books and muahadat and in books of the what is it called? I'm not sure
Yeah,
what
I think for this to translate it in English, you'd have to like look at the whole thing first. So
yeah.
Badiratun Ula, a first initiative. So a first initiative, like the first initiative in history, in order to the first initiative in history that like specified the meaning of an ummah of a nation
Mm.
was made manifest, from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as
Yes.
we see in the books of covenants and contracts. That's basically what's being said here.
Gotcha.
And then he says, على أساس الدين ونظام الملة, on the basis of on the foundation of deen, of religion, and basically a system of peoples, like people separating people according to their deen, and then making contracts between the peoples according to their deen. So this is like he's saying this is the first time that basically this would happen in history. Um, there's a lot of talk about this Pact of Medina being the first constitution and the first kind of national contract. I think we have to be very careful about saying things like that because that's basically looking at this through the lens of a modern nation state paradigm. And of course, that's not what was happening. The language used here, even language used here, I would say I have to be very cautious about it. And I'm not blaming anyone for this. Of course, everyone is affected by the time they live in, but you have to be very careful about this kind of language. This was actually popularized by Sheikh Muhammad Hamidullah in like the early 1900s, I think, or no, mid 1900s. So like he kind of popularized that idea. There's actually a good article on Yaqeen. I don't usually recommend things from Yaqeen, but Institute, right? But they have a good article on Yaqeen, basically refuting that whole idea of this being a constitution in the modern sense. Rather, it's just a contract, and it's something that could be. It's not like it's not creating a national identity or anything like that. That's the opposite of what the Deen is coming to do. So it's not creating like a national identity or something like, oh, now there's a Madani identity, and the Jews and the Muslims are all equal in this Madani identity. It's not doing something like that. That's like a modern nation state paradigm. So there's a good article in Yaqeen. The author of that article is kind of like a Islamist type or whatever. So I'm not saying he's reliable or anything. I'm not recommending that. But the article itself is good to read to have a perspective on this constitutional idea. Because it's not a constitution. I would never use the term in our modern time constitution for this pact made in Medina by An-Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Because when you say constitution, everyone has a certain amount, a certain idea in their head now, and I don't think it would be a fair way to describe this at all, because what was being created here, the Ummah is not a modern nation state. It's very, very different. Yeah, so sorry, I just thought it's important to point that out. And you can see by what happened to the Jews later that it wasn't at all, they weren't at all considered to be like equal citizens or something like that. Like sure, they had a lot of the same rights and things like that. That of course that's because of course nobody would agree to a contract that's not in their interest. But it's definitely not like okay, they're all citizens and we all have equal shares in the future of this nation, and we're all going to together decide on affairs. There's still a hierarchy here. but the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on top, and everyone else under him, and between everyone else, the Muslims on top. And we know we have the famous hadith, right? Al-Islamu, anyone Al-Islamu ya'lu wa la yu'la alayh. This Islam, rises above other things. It's above everything. It's above everything, and nothing can be above it. And that's in terms of political power, economic power, um, you know, them diplomatic power. Like the Muslims are supposed to be on top, and if they're not, then it's an obligation upon them to become that way. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us the ability to contribute to that in any way possible.
Ameen.
So I'll read the next paragraph. وكمل بنيان الفرد sorry, وكمل بنيان even the term mujtama being used here, this is a very modern sense it's being used in. Classically, they'll never use it in this way to mean like the community, the society as a whole, meaning those who are the subjects of this ruler and things like that. Even this is there's a lot to say about it, but even that is it's a very modern usage to use mujtama in this way. You would never find it in a classical Sira book like Bina al-Mujtama. It's very modern language. And there's no problem using modern language in order for people to understand, but it's just important that we don't, make conclusions from this modern language that make it seem like anything that is being done here was like a national project. Because national projects now are based on myths. They're based on founding myths. And this was based on Tawheed. And of course, the Jews couldn't claim to have proper Tawheed because they didn't accept Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وكمل بنيان الفرد والمجتمع والدولة وفق الأحكام الشرعية. كملت العبادات ونزلت أحكام الاقتصاد والقضايا المدنية. Even this is another modern usage, right? القضايا المدنية. ونظمت الأسرة والأحوال الشخصية واستتب الأمن بها. نزل من عقوبات الجناح. ونظمت علاقات المجتمع المسلم مع سائر المجتمعات. المجتمعات. فيما يسمى اليوم العلاقات الدولية. Okay, so yeah, you can see this whole paragraph is putting it in a modern paradigm, which again is not necessarily wrong. It's just that we have to be careful about what we take away from it. So he says the what do you call it? The building of the individual, the fard, individual, mujtama, the community, and the dawla, the state. I mean, the state is I really don't like using the term state here, but I can't think of a much better. You know what? Wa'il Hallaq uses the term sultanic executive, but that's not really, doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. But republic, I think would be fine in like the classical meaning of the republic, yeah. But I think for most people now, I don't know what do you think they get out of the word republic? That's the only reason I would hesitate to use it. But in the classical like meaning,
Like, wouldn't a republic be like a democracy, like of like a bunch of states or something like that? That's what I think of like a republic.
I mean, I think that's definitely in the modern sense. When someone says a republic, usually it means like, okay, people are the people. The people decide and they have representatives and things like that. But I guess classically it would have meant like, okay, there's some equality there, but it's not necessarily like voting and things like that. So I don't know, Nazi, if you could explain why you think republic would be a good word here, but I don't really know if I see it that way.
You could say like like the public like there's what is it called, civil society, but
Yeah.
do you need like a concept of like a concept of a nation state for civil society? I don't think so, right?
No, I
Because
guess not. I guess not. But I guess a
yeah.
republic would imply some kind of like, okay, fine, some group of people in the society have some amount of power to decide matters, which I think was true. But like, wouldn't the idea of like shura and then the emir having the ability to override the shura kind of weaken the concept of like republicanism?
Yeah, I guess like I'm thinking like older republics, like Rome or something. Like you have like representatives from different areas. You know how like in the Ottoman times they had beys and things like that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ruled various parts, but then they all came under the authority of the Sultan. So like
yeah.
like a Roman emperor or something like that.
Yeah,
I feel like the Ottomans they took a lot of inspiration from that stuff. So,
I think you're right. And just like the Umayyads took a lot from those Greek-speaking Romans, like the Byzantines, etc. You're right. But I think that's the thing is, especially in the time of the Prophet, ﷺ, then anyone who he allowed to be representatives of other people and become leaders, they were like completely within his authority. Unlike like the Roman Republic, like if the person in charge ignored someone's demands or like a representative, then there'd be consequences. But for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Khalifa, at least in the early times, there were no consequences. Like he can go against everyone and they have to obey. So I guess that's just what I'm thinking is maybe a difference. But I guess in
Yeah,
other,
that makes sense.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, republic is of course like a very nebulous term. I guess we could probably discuss it much more. So yeah, I mean, why is
The
Hallaj?
civil society, like mujtama, like civil society, um, that's what
Oh,
I would
I
assume,
think
right?
I think that's coming from like the polis, right? Like the Greek polis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like I think in the first few centuries of Islam, that became a very popular idea because we were taking a lot of things from, Aristotle and stuff like that. But I just wonder if it would be like anachronistic to apply it to this Medinan state. I mean, I hate using the term state, but whatever it is. Dola. Let's just say Dola. So yeah, building the individual and the society and the Dawla. And we know the Ottomans used the Dawla, Devlet, in a very specific way, right? They used it for their own like Dawla as the empire, but it's also like made up of different millahs. So we had the millah of the Jews and the millah of the Armenian Christians, the millah of the Greek Christians, and millah of the Muslims. And they had their own kind of way of doing it. Okay, so وفق الأحكام الشرعية. So the completion of building these things was according to the ahkam of the Sharia, so the rulings of the Sharia. كملت العبادات ونزلت. So also the ibadat were completed, meaning in the Medinan period, all the ibadat, were revealed, etc. ونزلت أحكام الاقتصاد, and the rulings of rulings related to the economy. Iqtisad in modern Arabic means the economy. Anyone know what iqtisad means in classical Arabic? We have a book by Al-Ghazali, right? Al-Iqtisad fil
Like
i'tikad.
moderation,
Yeah, moderation.
moderation.
Yeah. So I wonder what the connection is. There's probably some connection, like the economy has to be moderated. I don't know. But in modern Arabic, for whatever reason, it means economy, which I don't think it meant that classically. So the rulings related to the economy and al-qadaya al-madaniyya. So this is kind of what I think you were getting at now, is like city issues related to civilizational, like civil issues. Wal-qadaya al-madaniyya. So again, this is like a very modern usage of madaniyya. وَنُظِمَتِ الْأُسْرَةُ وَالْأَحْوَالُ الشَّخْصِيَّةُ. Also now, so basically, you know what he's doing here? He's following the Western classification of law. We have economic, financial law. Then we have like societal law. Then we have family law, like like divorce and stuff like that. So we said وَنُظِمَتِ الْأُسْرَةُ, the family was organized. وَالْأَحْوَالُ الشَّخْصِيَّةُ. This al-ahwal al-shakhsiyya is basically the modern Arabic equivalent of personal law. So it includes some criminal law and things like that, like hudud punishments and stuff like that. And these are all modern terms. Using the terms is not wrong in and of itself. But again, we should remember that the way our fuqaha divided the chapters of fiqh is not according to this breakdown. They considered it like an organic whole, even though of course they recognized that, okay, like the had of zina is very different than, okay, what water can we use for wudu? But they reckon that, but they still saw it as an organic whole, and changing something somewhere could have effects anywhere else in the system of law, especially for the Hanafis, right? Because for us, the furu are everything, more than the usul even. So changing some fara here might change all kinds of principles that we use, and it might change a fara somewhere else. Um, while for other madhab and their usul, it would be like something in the usul changing would have a lot of effect, but one fara changing might not affect other furu. Oh, it probably still would in modern times, because we don't go to the usul generally in modern times. But still, I mean, theoretically it wouldn't. Like if we're talking about people like Al-Ghazali and stuff like that, for them it wouldn't. واستتب الأمن بها نزل من عقوبات الجناح. Okay, now he talks about criminal law. عقوبات الجناح, like how do we so استتب is what do you call it? استتب الأمن. So it's like establishing basically. استتب. I can't remember the exact something like establishing. So safety was established by means of the punishments for criminals that were revealed. Nazala. So the min connects to the ma. Whenever there's a ma and then a min, it's min bayaniya. And in English, you're gonna have to translate these together, the ma and the min. So even if something comes in between like nazala, in English, you're gonna have to, change the order to translate it properly. وَنُظِّمَتْ عَلَاقَاتُ الْمُجْتَمَعِ الْمُسْلِمِ مَعَ سَائِرِ الْمُجْتَمَعَاتِ. And then also the rules or the relations between the Muslim society and all other societies were organized or systematized. Nuzimat from tanzim. And we also have the same word nizam from here, a system, organization. So this last thing he said, the relationship between different communities or societies, فيما يسمى اليوم العلاقات الدولية. So what is called in our time, I guess this would be international relations. That's العلاقات الدولية. Okay, so I'll just read the last paragraph because it's already 7:50. فحق لهذه الأمة الفخر بالإسلام دينا والفرح بكماله نظاما كما أعلنه ربنا اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. So the ummah has the right, like for hukka, it's like the ummah is worthy basically. So that this ummah, which I don't like saying nation, but I understand why it's translated nation. But anyway, this ummah has the right to rejoice and to be proud. Al-Faqr, to be proud of Islam as a deen. And to, yeah, I'm saying as a deen because religion also has some connotations now, that perhaps, well, I mean, the religion, the root of the word religion, like the Latin original, it actually, I think it maps onto deen very well. But the way that religion is used today, like in English, it doesn't really map that well onto deen. So that's why I'm just saying deen. And they also have the right to be full of joy, farahu bikamalihi, to be joyful at the perfection of Islam as a system. So, Islam as a religion, Islam as a system. Even this bifurcation of Islam as a deen and Islam as a system, I think we could probably talk about that a little more. I mean, I'm not saying the author here is bifurcating here, but people do. Many people believe that there is no system. It's only a deen. It's only religious rituals, which of course is just pure jahal. And some other people who are like the Islamist types, sometimes they look at it only as a system and not as a religion, which is equally jahal. And Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad has that what do you call it? Contention. He has those contentions, those little quotes he has. He's like, I think he's kind of like criticizing Islamists. He's like, their shahada is like, there is no God but Islam, and Muhammad is its messenger. So like instead of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making him the goal, we make Islam the goal. Even though Islam is just a means to an end, and the end of everything is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كما أعلنه, just like our Lord announced, كما أعلنه ربنا اليوم أكملت. So today I have completed for you or perfected for you your deen. وأتممت عليكم نعمتي, and I've basically like completed my favor upon you. It's probably not a good translation, but I'm just trying to do it on the fly. Completed my favor upon you, and have chosen for you, or have been pleased with you, pleased for you, or have been pleased with Islam for you as a deen. One last note, they say it's interesting. We have Dane, which means like a debt, right? And we have Deen, which means a religion. So it's interesting. They actually say this deen, this latter deen, is probably not originally Arabic. It's actually probably from some other language. Some people say Persian. Some people say like Sogdian, which is another Semitic language. So there's some theories out there, but it's interesting to look into because otherwise people are like, why do we call it Yawmuddin? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmuddin. And it doesn't mean religion, right? It means recompense and justice. And this Dain meaning has the meaning of justice. And this meaning is found in like other Semitic languages. Pretty much all Semitic languages, this like Dalia, Nun root is found in like other Semitic languages too. But this other one is not, which is why they sometimes say perhaps it came from some other language. That's just some random etymology that interests me that I told you. It's not really related. So any questions before we go? Okay, so inshallah we'll meet next week from starting with the military expeditions of Ghazawat and Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. And which reminds us, Allahumma ansur al-Islam wal-Muslimin wa ikhwanana al-mujahideen fi kulli makan wa la siyama Gaza wa غيرها من بلاد المسلمين آمين. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وجزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Mike, Salam.
Walaikum salam.